So the South African Weather Service has again raised concerns over the state of its stations. It's been reported that 3 to 4 out of every 10 weather stations aren't operational in the country due to non-maintenance. The service warns that this may put the country at risk in the event of future severe weather events. For more on this, let's bring in the South African Weather Service Infrastructure Executive, Mnikeli Ndabambi, who joins us via our video link this morning. So it's great to have you on the program. Thanks for making time. As I mentioned there, we're told that part of the problem is caused by a lack of maintenance of critical infrastructure, I'm told, because of a lack of funding. How far back does this go?
Good morning, Ayanda, and good morning to the viewers. Ayanda, I just want to set the record straight. In terms of the severe weather warnings, South Africa is actually improving its warning. Yes, we've got a limitation in terms of funds, more especially with the impact of COVID-19. But the infrastructure maintenance have been prioritized as part of the important programs of the South African Weather Service. And then we also got support from the minister for that. I think the people maybe they are confusing the fact that we've got manual rainfall stations that were being phased out. The manual rainfall stations were sort of looked after by people in terms of voluntary basis. But they were only taking records on certain times of the day, like 24-hour rainfall, max and mean temperature, for climate records purposes. But then we are busy now phasing in automatic rainfall stations, which are actually increasing with time. So those automatic rainfall stations and automatic weather stations, they are giving us data every 5 minutes. And that's what you need for ingestion in your numerical weather prediction models. That's why now you've got stations that are more reliable because we've sort of reduced that element of the human error. So what is important now, Ayanda, is to plan for the future so that we don't find ourselves in a deteriorating situation. So we are also collaborating, working with partners. As we speak, we are also engaging with ARC, for example, so that we can consolidate what we have as observation infrastructure in the country, so that we spend the government money a bit efficiently, so that we reduce any duplications that could be there. But okay, for me, what is important is that early warnings are improving. We have just introduced impact-based warning system, which was proven to be very beneficiary during the recent tropical cyclone about 2 years ago, Eloise. So even with the recent flooding, we don't say now we expect heavy rainfall. We also anticipate the potential impact. If it's a snowfall, roads will be closed. Like for recent KZN, we anticipated damage on the road infrastructure, for example, due to flooding. So maybe that's where we can prove to understand vulnerability level better for each and every district in the country.
All right.
Because this impact-based warning now is taking into account the vulnerability levels at local level.
All right. That's good to hear. But let me take a few steps back. Is it accurate to say that there has been a backlog in the maintenance of some critical infrastructure at the Weather Service?
Yes, there has been some delays in some areas, more especially with the impact of COVID-19, where we could not access some of the infrastructure. Yes, on our weather infrastructure, we also had some delays because you find that you order a spare, it takes 6 to 9 months to arrive. Like a transmitter of a weather radar took 9 months at one stage to arrive in South Africa because we are getting it from overseas. But it has never went to a situation where we are unable to issue the warnings. If you go and look at the lead time of the warnings that we are issuing, including the recent one for KZN, we can go to our records, we can send that information to you. We will see that there was enough lead time, and then we had an engagement with the disaster management authorities because we are working very close with them. The impact-based warning system also needs information from them, so we make that decision together to increase the level. So the highest level of the warning is 10, and the lowest level is 1. So 10, it means we expect the highest impact. So as you move above 5, the risk of the impact is increasing.
All right.
So we still issue warning, Ayanda.
Right, that's good to hear. It's coming across loud and clear. But what impact is this backlog in the maintenance of critical infrastructure having on your ability to carry out all of your duties?
The impact I can share, Ayanda, remember now, for our weather stations, we also want them to be as many as possible. And then we want climate records so that we can monitor the climate change. Because the predictions are that we still expect an increase in severe weather events in terms of frequency and also in terms of intensity. And also we want to increase the resolution with time. So that's why we want an increase. For example, I mean, the weather stations that were to close in terms of automatic weather stations, I think there are about 4. And then rainfall stations about 2 automatic rainfall stations. So those that are being closed are the manual ones. So for me, in terms of the threat, that's why even internationally, the World Meteorological Organization has designated us as a regional specialized meteorological center. So on a daily basis, we give severe weather guidance products to the SADC countries. So you only get given that role when your capabilities are good and are also improving with time.
Right.
So
and those ones,
sure, if we can give beyond the borders, so that means we can even give more for the country.
Yeah. And just for the record, those stations that you're finding you do have to close down because of a lack of maintenance, is it for since the existence of the weather service, or is it for within a certain time period, if you understand my question?
In terms of the manual rainfall stations, I just wanted to set the record straight. It's not they are closed because of poor maintenance. The stations that were to close, it's mostly due to vandalism. So in those areas, we try to negotiate with the schools, with the police station, so that we open another station. So we don't close stations just because of the poor maintenance. We try to get the parts. Then there could be a delay, for example, in getting a station up, so we can talk about that. So maybe I think that's why I say people, they are thinking about the manual rainfall stations, where sometimes a farmer would say, I'm no longer wanting a station in my farm. Some will say, we no longer want a station in our land. So then the manual stations are even less critical than automatic rainfall stations because they only give data for certain few times of the day, whereas the automatic weather stations, they give data every five minutes. So let us not attribute the closure of the stations to the poor maintenance.
All right. And as it were, I mean, we're giving a weather update on our channel as you and I are speaking. For those who are wondering of the impact this will have on the daily weather updates, the message from you is the impact shouldn't be significant at all.
Yes, actually, they must expect improvement with time in terms of their severe weather warnings, because we are getting to understand more now, even with our local disaster management structures, the vulnerability levels of many districts. Because it's those vulnerability levels that are going to assist us to anticipate the impact, so that if people need to be evacuated, then the local authorities can do so. So right. We are improving, Ayanda.
Mnikeli Ndabambi, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. He is the executive in charge of infrastructure at the South African Weather Service. Appreciate your time.